Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your midday market report for Wednesday, March 2nd, day two of March Madness Conference Championships. Who will cut the nets down in April? No baseball. And we had Bernie Fratto of Fox Sports Radio on earlier this morning, giving us the inside scoop and what to expect moving forward. But today is our weekly cross the border to our guy in Canada, eh? As we talk pucks, props, shots, you name it. And in a couple weeks, we'll be sitting side by side watching some games in Vegas. But let's bring him on. The one, the only, Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Hey, Jeff, I love the little Canada A at the end there. That probably sounds more smooth than I've heard people try and imitate us. So I like it. And I'll tell you one thing. You never notice you say it, the A, until you're around a bunch of people that don't say it. And then you just stick out like a sore thumb. Because whenever I've been on vacations or I've been in America or anywhere that's not Canada, that's when you find out you do something that nobody else does the most, So I didn't even think I said A that often until I was around people that don't do it. And then the stereotype really hit me. But it's great to be here. Look forward to the countdown is on, a couple weeks until we're in sunshine and in Vegas. But a couple games in hockey. I got a UFC pick I want to give out for today. So looking forward to it.
Freshman year in high school, we had a band competition. And we went up to Toronto. And then my freshman and sophomore years, we went to Montreal, and that's where the real fun began, obviously on St. Catherine Street. I was privileged to see the last two playoff games for the Bruins and Canadians in the Forum before they moved on.
Wow.
But yes, I picked up the A. And it's funny. It's just like the Boston accent, park the car and Harvard Yard and all that kind of thing. So I love the A, and I felt good saying that. Honestly, today it did. I enjoy it, and it's kind of unique in certain situations, as you said. You'll be going out to Vegas and rubbing elbows with everyone, and someone that doesn't know you, that's just sitting in the background, will pick up on that, and then they'll put two and two together. Hey, isn't that Andrew right
there? I remember. Do you use is the word supper in your vocabulary? Do you use that word?
You mean supper?
Supper. Yeah. That's I love this more than you'll ever know. That's awesome. Yeah. So I was in Vegas, and Drew Martin literally asked me, like, what do I mean by that? And he was like, yeah, I had a Canadian roommate in college. He used to always say that too. He's like, here in America, we say dinner. And I was like, well, I say that word too, but by definition, the word dinner means the largest meal of the day. So your dinner could be breakfast, lunch, or supper. Supper to me is the meal you have in the evening. And he's like, I don't even know what that word is, man. I love it. So it's supper. See, I can't have the Bostonian accent.
It's literally Suppah. Supper.
Hey, supper. Would you say you have a Boston accent, though? I wouldn't say you have much of one.
No, not at all. I'm literally about an hour, give or take, south of Boston, on Cape Cod. I did live in Boston for about 18 months, but I mean, if I want to have some fun with some people, I can, go with that accent with the best of them.
I love it, Jeff. I love it. I don't know if I ever told you this, actually. I used to date a girl from Newton.
Okay.
And I did some long distance there a little bit. So I got to see some people all around that area that had all different accents as well. It was funny.
A very nice part up in Newton. I wanted to just go at this. We've been I don't want to say struggling. We have had, as you know, in this business, you need some lady luck, and I use the word closing in college basketball. We just couldn't close a game. We would get to the last 2 minutes, minute, 30 seconds, 5 seconds, and we just couldn't close. And so over the last 72 now, maybe 98 hours, we've been adjusting our eyes. We've taken a couple less sources out of our approach. 3-0 this week in hockey. We
Awesome.
had the Leafs Monday night money line. Last night we had Columbus and we had Calgary. But the funny part of this story is in the college hoops, where we've had 4 games. We had Monday Syracuse +9, who was winning the whole game at North Carolina, and it goes to overtime and lands on 9. Which is just, as our friend Kelly Stewart say, overtime is where dogs go to die. We know
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
last night, I had Vanderbilt at a pick'em against Florida at home, up 8 with 3 minutes to go, up 5 with a minute to go, and then they go turnover, and Scottie Pippen's son misses a 1-and-1, and Florida hits a 3. Thanks for playing. So we lose that game. And we're sitting here with Wisconsin +300 to win the conference. So the Purdue opened up 2.5-point money line. 2.5-point favorites, which we thought Vegas is making a stance there. Well, Wisconsin was leading most of the game. Purdue misses 9 free throws, 11 for 20. And Wisconsin's last 2 possessions were bank threes. And their last one was with 1 second and off the side of the glass and in for the win.
Wow.
The frustration is just amazing. But
Yeah.
I'm following you on pucks. I love what you're doing. Hey, by the way, congrats. I think it was on Monday. You debuted your Discord channel. And I want to give you some time, the weekend review, how the pucks have been treating you, what you're seeing, and how things are going. And by the way, hats off to the Canadians. A hell of a nice stretch there. And last night down 4-0 or 4-1, rallied to 4-4. I don't even know who won that game, to be honest with you.
I do, because I had the Habs and they lost. I had them +190, but yeah, thanks. And for me, this season has been all about trying to adjust and learn. And it's like you always talk about that. If you're not still learning, then you're in the wrong business. So you're always trying to adjust. And I think I talked about this last week with you, but the number one thing that I've tried to learn recently is really being aware of the letdown spots. I think that's like the number one cliche handicapping term that I would say is applicable right now in the NHL, as we're seeing certain teams just kind of not show up for certain games versus other. If you see a team that plays 3 or 4 games against top tier teams and the next game is against, I don't know, the Red Wings, be careful. You might see that team have to struggle out a win. You saw even with Colorado the other day. I can't even remember who they were playing, but they were down a couple goals at least, and they had to fight their way back, and that's gonna happen this year, but right around this time anyway. But it's been okay. Like yesterday, small winning day, and I've just been trying to limit, like when I have losing days, I just want it to be a small losing day. That's really all I can ask for. I don't want to have any, and just trying to limit my exposure. What I've been doing a lot as far as bankroll management has just been like, if I'm releasing several plays, very small unit size. If I have 1 or 2, it's bigger sizes and stuff like that. But I have been noticing these totals. I mean, we're starting to see some lower scoring gains with these 6.5s. I mean, for so long we weren't seeing 6.5s, we weren't seeing any 7s. And if you notice, the second you start seeing more 6.5s pop up, unless you're talking about, the Leafs or the New Jersey Devils, you're starting to see a lot of unders happen recently, and teams are playing better defensive hockey. So it's been interesting. February definitely wasn't, as good as, January and December were for me, but I escaped it a little bit in the green, and hopefully get going, starting in this week. And definitely want to be in a good mood and feeling good when I see you in Vegas. And we got our big meet and greet going on. So it's been kind of nice, Jeff. it started off by just Carmine and I organizing a little bit to have people to come out and meet us and chat and talk hockey. And now it's a huge event. We're going to have Kelly there, Drew, a lot of guys from Wager Talk, like Hakeem Profit, Brian, Marco. All these guys are going to be at the Westgate. I hope you join us, and it's going to be awesome. So I definitely hope I'm running good and feeling good by the time that event comes to place.
Now, rumor has it, because on Wednesday and Thursday I bring in our guys from Chicago, Colton and Riley. We had talked earlier; it was going to be Saturday, and has it been moved to Friday at the Westgate?
Friday,
Okay.
yeah, the 18th. The 18th. I think it's from 2 to 6 or 2 to 7 or something like that. That's what I've been
So
told. So I'm doing as I've been told.
well, that will be day 2 of March Madness. So hopefully everyone will be in good spirits after Thursday,
Yes.
and not chasing, as we like to
Mm-hmm.
say, on Friday, fade the public and payday for most there. So pucks this week. You're talking about the season slowly dwindling down. We'll be getting ramped up for the playoffs. Any teams out west that have caught your eye that may be starting to catch a little stride? I know I always ask you this. I go back to the preseason, and you talked about Vancouver as one of your sleepers. We've talked at length about the Avs and how strong they are.
Yeah.
Now Vegas with Eichel. What are you seeing out west?
I'm seeing. Well, I mean, I guess it's not really a hot take right now, but I really like this St. Louis Blues team. I I
Okay.
I, I I think that if they can play decent defensively, they've got a lot of goal scoring power. They've got a great power play, and I think it's the net kind of seems to be Husso's net now. I mean, I think obviously Bennington's still getting some starts, but so I really like the Blues. I have been impressed with the Kings, but that was just kind of last week when they were playing some weaker competition a little bit. I'm not so sure if that can continue. I'll tell you what, I know that they've been injured, Jeff, but I actually have been disappointed with what I've seen from the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think that if you can take a look right now at this Western Conference, and you can get a Nashville Predators team that I was wrong about, and you can take a look at them to win the West, you might be able to get some good odds, because the Avalanche, the Wild, even the Blues, I'm not sure if it's worth a future at this point right now, but I don't know. I think the Predators are a team that could be built for the playoffs. They have a great goaltender. They're very veteran built. And I was wrong about them. I'll admit it. I think I took them like +2 something to miss the playoffs, and that's probably not going to happen. So I like them quite a bit. Obviously, my Vancouver one's not going to hold on unless they have, I mean, you never say never, but a lot of stuff would have to happen. I'm excited that I had a good call with the Ducks, though, to miss the playoffs, as it was really a sell high situation. They had a really good first half, and definitely, I didn't think they could maintain what they were doing there. But I think the Eastern Conference is kind of more interesting just because of the way we all know kind of who's going to make the playoffs now. To me, it's all kind of about the makeshift of who's going to finish where.
Buying or selling Edmonton Oilers?
Well, I can't trust the goaltending. I can't. Koskinen's playing better right now. He's been finally made the number one guy. The coaches all loved, and management loved Mike Smith for a while, but if it wasn't for salary cap, I think Stuart Skinner should be up there as the backup, and Smith should be in the minors. But you can't do that to a guy like him. I'd say for the time being, I'm buying them, but come later in the season, probably a sell, if that can be any type of answer, because for some reason we're getting better prices on them than we should be against some of the top tier teams. Would you agree with that? Like when they play other teams that are good, like they're always a high price against bottom feeders, but against teams like in the Battle of Alberta or against Vegas or even LA, like the price is too good to be true on Oilers, I think. But come playoff time, let me ask you this: who wins a playoff series first, the Leafs or the Oilers? I love getting Leaf fans going, and I've been known to be a Leaf hater, but Who could win us? Because let's be honest here. I know I've built a reputation for hating on the Leafs, but last year was their year to win a series because they're a better team this year than they were last year. But you want to tell me that Florida or Tampa Bay is their first round opponent this year? That's not going to be easy.
No, and that's such a great question because if I remember correctly, obviously the Leafs blew another series last year, but Edmonton just nowhere to be found. And the
Yeah.
reason I asked you about Edmonton is since the coaching change, they have been playing a lot better. But as we talked about last week, surprisingly, it's been on the defensive end,
Hmm.
and they're not giving up as many goals. I think last Wednesday we both were on the Oilers. I think it was against Tampa. They got down early and they
Yes.
rallied to 4-3, and then we lost 5-3.
Don't
But
remind
again,
me.
last night a 3-0 shutout, and you are getting some intriguing prices that really do. I like what you say about the Rangers. Okay, they beat the teams that they're supposed to. Now when they play the better teams, they don't. And it's almost the same as Edmonton, where
Mhm.
they're just right there, but against the elite teams, they can't close the deal.
Well, I can't. I obviously I can't remember what it was I said yesterday. The stat, but even Vegas Golden Knights, like I talk about these letdown spots. Sure, I think they had a little bit of a letdown last week against the Coyotes, but for the most part, Jeff, it was something like 48 and like 16 or something of that percentage where how they are against teams with a losing record. It's unbelievable. Like even the New York Islanders, they're a team this year. If you're getting them against a team with a losing record, they always do well. They perform better. All of a sudden, you put them as an underdog. Like some people always say, like, no, I'll only bet this team as a dog. Well, I'll tell you what, if I were you guys, I'd only bet certain teams as a favorite, like the Islanders, But yeah, it's a good point about the Oilers that their defensive mindset has definitely helped them. I mean, they can't be involved in first to four wins every game. It'll just hurt them too much. So, what do you think's been the biggest difference there, though? Has it just been like being a lot more cautious in the neutral zone, or what's the deal?
I I like to always say that they're almost out there proving a point that they're saying, "Hey, it was the coach's fault, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why we stunk so bad." So they usually rally the troops. I think they won 3 in a row, and then they came home, faced Minnesota on that Sunday and got blown out. They put a couple more wins together. They did lose last week for us, and then they come back and bounce back. So they are showing a little resiliency. Um, but getting back to the East, I mean, Tampa's Tampa. I mean, they give up a 2 spot to start, and then they're like, "Last night, thanks for playing," and it just
Well, it's funny.
it,
One of my friends is a hockey fan. He messaged me. He goes, "Dude, I tried to bet on Tampa live when they were down 2-0, and my app was frozen for like 5 minutes." He goes, "They didn't want me to bet them. They knew what was going to happen because it's true. What was it? 5 unanswered goals? Unbelievable."
so you got the Tampas of the world, okay? You got the Carolinas, the Floridas, and then you talk about the Leafs, the Bruins, the East. I can't get Carolina off the brain. I obviously I respect Florida, and Tampa's Tampa. I mean, I don't think they're going to go back to a couple of years ago and bow out in the first round, and get swept. Um, if you had to pinpoint one team and you said, okay, give me the one team in the East, would you take the chalk in Tampa? Or actually, them and the Hurricanes, I think, are pretty close.
Yeah, I really like Carolina. I gave them out to clients at 14-1, and I'm going to stick with them.
Yeah.
I love defensive teams in the playoffs, and they have no issues winning 3-2 games, 2-1 games, and that's what we're going to see in the playoffs a lot more. And when it comes down to double overtime, triple overtime, that's the kind of team that I want. So, um, besides the overinflated goaltender in Tampa Bay that wears XXL gear pads there in Vasilevsky, I think Tampa Bay isn't as good of a defensive team as Carolina is. So we'll see if that comes in fruition. But I had to get my joke in, man. Vasilevsky, he needs to undersize a little bit. They got to call the rule book on him. His pads and
Too
gear are
big.
too big.
He looks like the Michelin Man. I mean, there's like no holes there to score on.
And it's funny because you see him at All-Star Weekend, like when he's doing the interviews and he's not in it. I'm like, this guy's the same size as me. And he looks like he's like a sumo wrestler when he's in net.
All right, I'm going to bring today's board up. Short menu, and actually one of the intriguing games that you hinted about. I don't know if you'll have any interest on it. Is the Blues at the Rangers tonight, and interesting for us that we like fools backed the Rangers Sunday night at home against your Canucks, and it was a real early thanks for playing. And I did see overnight the Rangers in one spot opened up as a small favorite, but I saw a quick flip to St. Louis minus 120. It looks like as close as the pick 'em as you're going to get. Kind of interested on your thoughts there.
Yeah, it should be a really great game. It was exciting to see the pick'em odds come out. Like obviously two top teams in the respective divisions. But I think that there's a couple different storylines within the matchup. Obviously, the Blues playing some good hockey right now. I believe this is like their seventh or eighth straight road game or eighth straight game in a different building, which is definitely a factor. They're riding a several game winning streak. I think it's 4 or 5 for them. The Rangers have lost 2. So I think, my first thought when I saw this was that, well, I like the Blues. I think they're overall stronger, and if Husso plays well, they'll win the game. But the more I looked at it, I was like, this game means more to the Rangers, and just Shesterkin's been putting up astronomical numbers. And I know it's 5.5 here, but I think we get a low scoring Rangers victory. I'm going to call a 3-2 Rangers win here. I think it's going to be a close game as the odds dictate, but I think the home side will get it. Situationally, circumstantial, I think that things just line up for the Rangers tonight, and they'll be ready, So um, everything, if this was both teams, 3 days rest, neutral venue, give me the Blues. But, mix in the road trip, mix in the 2 losses, mix in the success the Blues have had recently. I'll take the Rangers here.
Yeah, and it's one of these catch 22s, and I don't know if you ever think twice about it. Like for instance, we had the Rangers Sunday, and then damn well if you go in and grab the Blues today, the Rangers will have Mike Leach playing, and
Yeah,
and a few
yeah.
other of those stars, and it'll be Mark Messier and the glory days.
Yeah. Well, that's just that's the thing. Like we do our hockey show every morning at 11, and we don't have the goaltending confirmations. And I always say, like, I make a lot of picks the night before. And, I don't always, sometimes I'll wait till 4 o'clock Eastern the day of, but sometimes it's like with goaltenders like this with Shesterkin, it's like, I need to know if this guy's playing. I need to know for a fact that this guy is playing. I have alerts on my phone from one of the Twitter accounts. I think the Goalie Project it's called. And I get alerted the second that they tweet out that a goaltender has been confirmed because I don't want to miss out on. I don't want to give out a pick and all of a sudden this guy's starting that I didn't think was going to start because I'll be honest, that's happened before and it's not a good feeling.
You mean like Ullmark versus Swayman right now for the Bruins?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, the board's yours. The stage is yours. All our viewers, listeners are anxiously awaiting if you see anything tonight.
Let's try and find some winners. I'm going to go with the to the Buffalo and Toronto game. I think this is a little bit of a surprise pick to some people, but I actually am on the under 6.5 in this game. I think that this is a get right defensive game for the Maple Leafs. You look at that 10-7 game they were involved in against the Red Wings and just some 5-3 games that they've been played in. They've just been playing in so many different circus type games that Sheldon Keefe knows this is an 82 game preseason. And whether people think I'm joking or not when I say that, I'm serious. I mean, it's first round or get to the second round or nothing for this team this year. And you're not going to do that by, playing first to 5 wins every game you play in. And I think this is a good game against the Buffalo team struggling to score goals as well. Consistently past couple games. And sure, they've allowed some goals, but I think they'll get up for it. And it might be one of those spots, like I mentioned earlier in the show, about that letdown phrase. I mean, Toronto's been playing some good teams, been playing some good hockey as well. Maybe they take Buffalo lightly tonight. So I think we could see an under 6.5 in that game. LA and Dallas. Look, LA was my buy team last week. They went 3-0, so it was nice to kind of cash those tickets. They're off that loss to the Bruins where they put up a touchdown plus the extra point went through. So that wasn't really good for my liking of fading them again tonight, but I'm probably still going to end up doing it. Haven't bet it yet, but I still think it's a cheap price for Dallas at home. And Nashville, Seattle, I'm going to look over 5.5. So that's pretty much everything I like on the board there. Seattle, I think, can trade goals with Nashville. Nashville, I mentioned them to you as far as the futures go, that they're quality team, but for some reason they have given up goals, and they definitely give up more goals on the road. So I think a 5.5 number is decent there. I wanted to give out, I do have a huge pickup, my top rated play at Wager Talk in the UFC this weekend, but I wanted to give out a free play in the main event actually for Kobe Covington, Jorge Masvidal. We're going to go over in that one, over 4.5 rounds, Jeff, between these two guys. It's a lot of fake rivalry. These guys, they used to train together. They used to be best friends. This is a real rivalry here. We have Kobe Covington. He's like minus 350 at this point. So unless you're looking at kind of a decision or method of victory wager, I'm not going to bet on the side in this game. But these are two very durable guys. Jorge Masvidal has barely ever been finished. You look at that knockout that he took against Kamaru Usman. That was not happened at all for him recently. That was very rare to see. And looking at Kobe Covington, he's a huge wrestler. That's his background. He's going to try and take down Masvidal throughout the whole fight. These guys are talking smack like they're going to put each other in ambulances and in a stretcher. The fact of the matter is, it might be a lot more boring of a fight than some might think. And they're doing a great job selling the fight. But over 4.5 rounds is a play I really like for this weekend in the UFC. And that might be the first time I ever talked about UFC on your show.
I think it has. I think a few times we've gotten people to Wager Talk for the weekend. You've talked up a few plays, but this is the first time I think that you've actually released the play, and that is the over in the main event, which I definitely will now have. Thank you very much, as always. Wrapping up here, as always, I've had the crawler on for the last almost half hour at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk. It's Sports Mayflower. Obviously, go over to YouTube and subscribe to Mayflower Sports, but the stage is yours. Tell everyone where to find you, where they can get all your podcasts on your platforms, your Discord channels, what's going on at Wager Talk, seeing that you have 2 weeks till you're in Sin City.
Yeah, absolutely can't wait. I've been trying to tell myself not to count down the days because I'll just go kind of batshit crazy over the next couple weeks here. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Just want to promote our Puck Time show, and it's at 11 a.m. Eastern every day. Our event March 18th at the Westgate Superbook at the clubhouse there. We got the clubhouse for the whole day, so it's going to be a great time. Come by. We'll buy you a drink. We got some merchandise, some sweaters, some coffee mugs, cool things like that, some hockey pucks. I'm actually really excited about that, Jeff. We bought a bunch of hockey pucks with our logo on it, so that'll be kind of cool. And other than that, our Discord, I launched it 3 days ago, but we only started giving out the link to people like yesterday. And today I'm going live at 5:30 Eastern time, kind of doing a Q&A and just discussing games with people and really just trying to build a community, So if you're someone that hates trolls and hates dealing with random people you don't know in your space, then this is the place to come. It's a fun, safe, and exciting spot to be. And Discord's made a huge comeback, Discord was a place that I know when I was younger, if you were playing like PlayStation or Xbox, you would hop on to talk with your friends. And it's a lot different now. This is a place to build a community. So reach out to me on Twitter and we'll get you in the Discord.
Absolutely, 100%. Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk, Sports Mayflower, and of course, Mayflower Sports at YouTube. It's always a pleasure Wednesdays to cross the border, and have some fun with you, because when it comes to the pucks, no one more that I enjoy to talk to, as always. So always,
Thank you,
always,
Jeff.
always follow this guy here. And always remember this: when wagering, if you are wagering today or at any point this week, always wager and invest responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Because myself and Andrew would like to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Andrew McInnis and McInnis Picks and at Wager Talk, we wish everyone a great luck tonight. Cash some tickets. Enjoy those games.